All right. Well, we've had this whole medical marijuana racket going on in California for more than 20 years. I mean, anybody could go and get a medical marijuana card for, a broken fingernail, and it would be accepted at a dispensary. Well, starting on the 1st, as of now, we have opened the world's largest legal marijuana market. We don't even need to have a broken fingernail to go buy us some cannabis. But how is it all going to work?
Well, Brooke Edward Staggs writes for the Cannifornian about all things pot and all things California, and now the combination of the two. So, Brooke, first of all, thanks for joining us on this very, green day, very potty day.
We can workshop it.
I don't know what it is. We should have worked it out in rehearsal.
Thank you so much for having me.
How does it all work? I'm on my way home today. I want to stop and I pick up some pot.
Because Shannon's New Year's resolution is to drink less Chardonnay. So
right.
Maybe she fills that hole with a little bit of bud.
Yeah, some people are doing that. We're definitely hearing that. So you can, as of now, find about 100 shops throughout the state that can sell to anyone 21 and older with just an ID. And you can buy up to an ounce at a time and put it in your car the same way you transport alcohol. Keep it in the trunk, keep it sealed. You can take it home and you can consume it at your leisure.
How do you find out where the shops are located?
That's a good question. There are 100. Sounds maybe like a lot, but when it's spread throughout California, it's not really that many. So we do at thecannifornian.com. We're keeping a running map of all the legal shops in the state as the state issues new licenses. But right now, as of yesterday, the first stores in Los Angeles County opened. Those are in West Hollywood. So I believe there are 4 that are now licensed there. The city of Los Angeles has taken a long time to get their regulations up and going. So they're going to start accepting applications from businesses today, and maybe within a week or two, we might start seeing some of the first shops open there. Otherwise, the next closest would be in Santa Ana. So I'm based at the Orange County Register. We've been following this closely here, and the shops in Santa Ana opened on the 1st at 7 a.m. and had long lines of people waiting to buy that first legal cannabis.
There's looking at the map that is on the Cannifornian.com, and I know the OC Register also had one. There's a huge open space basically between those shops in West Hollywood and San Francisco. Almost, well, I guess Salinas or Monterey would be closest. But there's a huge swath of a giant state where there are no legal pot shops right now, at least in terms of the recreational marijuana.
Right. Yeah. Central California definitely has, a big hole in terms of having access for folks. There are, some medical shops that are permitted in those areas, but the majority of cities are definitely still banning all, recreational businesses. So even though it became legal under Prop 64, cities have the full right to, block all of these businesses or regulate them as they see fit. And so most cities are still blocking them.
So where are people allowed to smoke the marijuana? I mean, yeah.
Only in private property, so their own homes or, obviously if you're in someone else's property at this time, you can't smoke on the street. And there will be some cities that will allow lounges. So West Hollywood is going to do this in Palm Springs, so folks can buy and consume in some cases in the same location. And then there will be special licenses for festivals. So we've seen these big Cannabis Cup festivals and things like that. So they will be able to get permits to have events where consumption is allowed. But it does, pose a tricky situation, especially for visitors, since, most hotels won't allow you to smoke. You can't do it on the street. And so, we will see people trying to search for a legal place to do it that are from out of town.
Well, as these municipalities, the counties and the cities finalize whatever laws they're going to have and then begin the permit process and allow even temporary permits, a year from now, do you think we will see basically the entire state, outside of those cities that don't allow recreational pot shops at all, but basically every corner of the state will have some sort of dispensary, some sort of recreational pot available?
Denver's like that. It's every corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely cities, like you said, in Denver, you can easily find it. But if you look at, the entire state of Colorado, I think it's only about 30% of cities there still, even all these years after they legalized, actually allow recreational shops. So, California is not as conservative in general as Colorado. We have pockets of it for sure, but some experts I've talked to predict that it might eventually be more like half here. But, definitely not 100%, I don't think, in terms of shops. There will be more cities that will allow some of the businesses that aren't so in the public eye. So lab testing and maybe distribution and some of these things that the public don't really see or interact with. But in terms of shops, I think there are definitely still going to be, some dry or brown, perhaps, cities that will stay that way.
Will people that have the medical marijuana cards have any special benefits? Will it be easier for them? Will there be special places that they can go where they won't have to deal with the recreational pot lines?
It's a good question. There's some pluses and minuses for medical folks. So, one of the pluses is that if you are one of those people that, maybe had not a super serious medical condition, something more like we saw people getting cards a lot of times for anxiety and stuff, you now no longer have to pay to get a doctor's recommendation to do this and go through that process. You can walk into a shop with just an ID. But and they do get a tax break. They don't have to pay sales tax on any of their purchases like the other folks do. But they do now have to pay a 15% excise tax that's on all sales. And so a lot of medical folks are upset about that. And then there are some rules that are kicking in now about products where they limit the amount of THC, the chemical that makes you feel high, in some products that those limits weren't there before. And some folks with real serious medical conditions use really potent products to, help treat those. And so they may not have access to some of those products that they had just as of a few days ago. There's some pluses and minuses.
Some of the rent in some of these places has got to be pretty high just because of location. I mean, the two shops in West Hollywood, the shop in Santa Ana. But I would imagine that security is going to be the biggest cost because this is still an all-cash business, right?
It is largely cash, yeah. There is a lot of trouble, getting banking access to big traditional banks, but we are seeing more businesses that are able to get bank accounts through, credit unions and more local banks. So there are dispensaries that are able to take credit cards now, but it definitely still largely a cash business, and there are a lot of requirements for them to have 24-hour surveillance video and security guards, and some cities take that further, allow them to have armed security and things like that. So that's definitely one big part of the expense of, getting into compliance with the new state laws.
Brooke, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you laying it all out nice, plain, and simple for us.
Sure, my pleasure.
Brooke Edward Staggs from the Cannifornian. Coming up next, how much pot was bought on day one? How much money are these people raking in? Should we start one of these things? Like a Gary and Shannon cannabis club?
Gas pot?
You need a better...
Gas pot.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say you needed a better name, but that'd be good.
Gas pot.
I'll start working up the T-shirts right now.
I'm not doing the paperwork.